welcome back to another episode of the Rick and Danny Show. Hey, Rick.
What's happening?
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Razor.
Razor who?
Razor glass to a new year.
Hey! All right. I think she might enjoy that more than any of the other jokes.
Here you go, Brenna. Cheers.
That was a good
Cheers, Brennan.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Rick just pretended that was a shot of anything.
Rick needs another cold
Dry
brew.
January.
I need another cold brew. Exactly. Do need that.
I think I surprised Brenna with that one.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Your delivery's getting better, I think.
Your comfort level is through the roof.
Been watching a lot of YouTube lately, Rick.
Oh, God.
Dad jokes?
That could go a lot of different ways.
No, I'm just going to leave it at that.
What?
What?
It helps with the delivery. Studying other professional podcasters.
Are you taking acting classes? This is acting.
I wish
been
we were
studying.
videoing so bad right now.
You should probably take some improv classes, you know? Yes, and.
Well, yeah.
You never say
Improv, I
no.
do
Everything you respond, it should be yes, and.
One day we're just going to get an invite to
Yes.
his first improv show.
Oh, no.
Front row seats.
No. That would go.
Give me a place.
That would
go into the doctor.
would
Give
go
me an
miserably.
object. Tire iron. All right,
There are a
Danny,
number-
go.
There are a number of doctors that try to do improv or comedy, stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Like at this practice or just in general?
No, generally. I've heard of like some ER doctors trying to do it.
I think a lot of doctors are trying to get into medicine.
They think they're
so
funny.
I think a lot. Listen, bro.
Listen, I know I'm funny.
I don't know if I'm funny, but I was voluntold I needed to do this podcast. Okay, this was not
This was
bred.
your
And,
idea.
Yeah, this
and
was
now
not.
you love it.
This was not bred out of me saying, you know who should get on air and broadcast to the masses. Yeah, those words never came out of my
It came
mouth.
naturally to you,
You
Rick.
know, we had
Natural.
I had our preliminary meeting with our ad agency for our commercials.
Oh, okay.
And so they're going through a pitch, and I just like word vomited one of them. I was like, "Oh yeah, Rick will be great for that."
Oh,
And they're like, "Do you just volunteer casting?" I was like, "Yeah, it's kind of just what I do."
is this the first time he heard of this?
Yes. Yes, everything in this shaken company.
Rick will be great for it.
Rick, you're going to be on Fox News.
I think we have enough
coming up
commercials.
soon.
We're good.
Enough commercials with you in them.
No, just in general. I think
No, we need to.
Well, I think if we do
already
any
budgeted for it.
appearances,
we don't need them.
we'll do it together, Rick, so you don't feel like the only one.
You just want to do it though. This is like your dream.
It's not my dream, no.
Look, we already
But we know-
Danny loves the camera.
We already met
and the
you-
camera loves Danny.
we already
There's
met
no
your
camera
hero.
here
We already
today.
met your hero, Kevin MD.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
now we're gonna
That's
have
true.
pretty soon. It's
We can,
gonna
we can invite him back on.
pretty soon the Rick
this
and
year.
Danny show. I'm gonna be kicked off. I'm just waiting.
No,
one of these
there's
days-
no one else.
one of
There's
these-
no one else.
that would
What-
make you too happy if we can't have that.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'm gonna show up to the studio, and there's gonna be a sign on the door that's gonna be like,
Do not let
"Seats
this man in.
taken." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yep, sorry, buddy."
Who could replace you?
Literally anyone.
No.
I tried, but Rick and Danny sounded the best together. That's why
Yeah.
That's why you guys are here.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yep.
I don't know if it does.
What is that?
I
Other
didn't guess
show,
it.
Rick and Morty or something? Is
Rick
that,
and Morty?
That's what it always comes up when I search our name. It's
It's
like
Rick and
it's
Morty.
never Rick
Rick
and
and
Danny
Morty.
show. It's always Rick and Morty.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get some
Maybe we should
listeners.
have an animated show.
Yeah, or maybe we'll get some listeners that think they're gonna click on Rick and Morty, but accidentally
Yeah.
they clicked on Rick and Danny.
Yep.
Very different
Parentheses
content.
Danny.
Very
Is
different
it?
content.
Is it though?
I don't know.
I've never listened.
I've
to
never
them.
seen Rick and Morty.
You've never watched Rick and Morty?
Nope.
Nope.
Is that a Boston thing?
Ah, that's funny.
Thank you. See,
No,
I've loosened
no, it's
up
not,
for
but that was-
2023.
That was funny. All right.
Rick, stop
20
drinking. I might have started.
Yeah, what's in your coffee? 2023, the year of Danny.
This is his year.
Seinfeld reference.
All right.
I like it.
You like that?
I like it.
Maybe we'll have you in all the commercials this year.
Just do the opposite of whatever.
Hey,
whatever
if you want,
All right, twist my arm.
Whatever your natural instinct is, just do the opposite, Danny.
Okay.
Things
that
are working
sounds
out great.
That sounds good. Opposite day.
Ethel, I got some bad news. I'm going to be on the road. We're taking this
No.
on the road.
She does sigh whenever I say I've got a podcast recording. But she thinks for some reason that we go
That's not a
longer than the
that's-
workday, which we don't.
That's
so.
not a
We
sigh.
used to, but we
We
got
used
really
to.
good at
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's not a sigh she's doing. That's actually an audible eye roll.
yeah. It is.
Like you can hear her eyes rolling in the back of her head when you tell her that.
Yeah. On Fridays, all she wants me to do is pick up food and bring it home.
That's fair.
That's what it is.
I get it.
Who wouldn't want that?
It's movie night.
That's right. You guys do movie night. What's on the movie night? Black Adam
We haven't watched that yet, actually.
streaming on HBO.
Yeah.
I like
No, we
this.
want to watch.
I
We
just like
haven't
The
seen
Rock.
the new
I'll watch anything The Rock's in.
Wakanda Forever. We haven't watched that, but it's
nice.
not out yet
Is
on
that
the
streaming?
streaming. Not yet.
No.
It will be on Disney Plus.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's all our house is. When the kids are awake, our house is the only thing that's on is Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Moana is the leader right now.
Oof.
That's a great movie.
I got
Freaking
out of that.
love
phase.
that movie.
It's such a good movie.
I had never seen it before,
Yeah.
and then
Did
now I've seen it 7,000 times,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a great movie.
We used to, when it
Yeah.
first came out, my friends and I used to watch it probably every other week. Like, you want to watch Moana in a little bit? You want to watch Moana?
Like
We're adults.
everything
so-
about it. Like the crab song, A+.
Crab song's the best.
Tamatoa.
You're welcome, A+.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's just a great. It's a banger after banger. It's a great movie. Yeah, that's his movie of choice at the moment.
Sweet.
No more Bruno.
No, we had I think we're past our Bruno phase. Occasionally he requests it, but now the most requested is Moana. Tamatoa. Tamatoa hasn't always been this drab. I was a sad little crab once. Yeah, I can definitely do the whole song by
That's
memory.
awesome.
Word for word.
That's so good.
That's a good song. Yeah, that's a
great
good
song.
movie.
It's a great movie. I think I cried at the end of it. The first
Oh yeah, it's a little
or
bit of a
6 times I
tearjerker at
watched
the
it.
end.
I watched it.
For sure.
I cry a lot at movies, and definitely Moana got you choked up.
Yeah.
I can see it.
We've been able to watch a little bit more of what we want to watch lately, which is good. So we finished the first season of White Lotus, which was pretty good.
Haven't watched it yet, but everyone loves it.
Yeah, everyone says
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Is it good?
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I mean, it's weird at times, but it's like weird good. You know,
Nice.
it's kind of. They make it like a little trippy at times, and then like a lot of it's like all drama. Like
Yeah.
people's lives are just in turmoil, or they think it's in turmoil, and it's all takes place at one resort in Hawaii. So it's interesting.
We've been our show when the kids go to bed lately has been Last Chance U, the basketball one.
I think I've seen that.
There's a new season came out of the basketball one.
I think I saw the first one of
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a new season that came out.
That's interesting.
It's a good
Have you
show.
heard of that show?
Mm-mm.
It's like
I think
It's like a junior college.
Yeah,
So it's like
Jaco.
these kids a lot of them have flamed out of Division One,
hmm
so they go to junior college and basically have to. It's like their last
Yeah.
chance before they, you know,
Yeah.
to get back into college in Division One.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah, they're kind of sad stories. I mean, you have these guys who were like high school like stars, and then they went to a good Division One school, and they either screwed up and had to leave, or something happened, and then they're all like trying to get back to a Division One school,
Gotcha.
basically.
And the coach who's at East Los Angeles College, which is the college that they profile, is hilarious.
Oh yeah,
An intense dude.
yeah.
So it's a good show. So what do we think? 2023, Danny. What's on the docket? What do you think is going to be moving and shaking in the healthcare world in 2023? Both locally here in Jacksonville and then sort of big picture oncology wise. Do you think there's any is the magic bullet going to be discovered?
The magic bullet. Probably not this year.
But 2024.
I hate to be pessimistic,
obviously.
but I think we're gonna have a lot more information on different types of immunotherapy probably coming out, where we're seeing different combinations. We're having, for example, I investigated and I'll plug this even though it's not our center, but there's
I believe you meant plug it.
plug it. There's a CAR T-cell trial at Mayo
Okay.
for triple negative breast cancer.
Cool.
Which is pretty hot right now in terms of not a lot of people know about it, but CAR T-cell therapy is used for different leukemias, lymphomas. It's basically engineering your own immune cells to attack your cancer. So it's trying to get at the cancer a much different way than what's
Yeah.
typical for breast cancer.
Can you explain to the listeners, not me, because I totally know everything about CAR T cell therapy,
Yeah.
but So they take your own immune cells, right?
Yeah.
And re-engineer them in a lab.
They
Is that correct?
re-engineer them, right? So you get hooked up to a machine that filters out your lymphocytes, and then they use special technology to insert a gene that expresses a protein that can bind to the cancer cells, and then you infuse those immune cells back into your body.
Yeah, so it's basically the way I always think about it is it's like you have a police car that's trying to find the criminal, criminal in this case the cancer, but it can't find it. So what you're doing is you're retrofitting those police cars to have a special radar
Correct.
that finds the cancer.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's using your body's own police cars, so you don't have to worry about
right. Generally,
police cars from the other side of town coming over and messing with it.
It's a good analogy.
Exactly.
Don't eye roll me, Brenna.
I'm not. I was serious. I was being genuine.
Now, generally, this is done
Boston genuine,
in,
which
you
is
know,
like
the
a
downside of the
disingenuous.
therapy is that you have to do it in the hospital setting. You have to
Gotcha.
infuse the patient with these immune cells in a hospital setting.
How long does it take? Like, what's the like the logistics of
to process it?
Yeah, how does it start from like the patient
Yeah,
comes in,
so-
they have it extracted?
So from the time they apheresis the white cells, it varies. Like the lymphoma products that are available, they'll report that from the time apheresis gets sent out to the company to engineer, about 2 weeks.
Okay.
This particular trial, the primary investigator told me it's taking a month to do it.
Wow.
So you definitely need some time. You can't have a patient that's extremely sick because they might not have a month
Right.
to wait.
So do they stay on their other therapies?
Well, yeah, they can be bridged with other therapies. Yeah.
And then so they get admitted to the hospital once everything's ready.
Right.
And they get the infusion.
And they're
And how
usually
long are they
admitted
in-
for a couple weeks.
They're in the hospital for a
Well,
couple weeks.
I think there's the infusion itself, and I'm trying to think back to my fellowship days when we had one of the lymphoma trials going on, but you would admit you have to get a round of 2 different chemotherapies before the infusion of those cells, and it kind of wipes out the rest of your immune cells so that those cells can kind of flourish.
It's almost like not as intense as a transplant regimen,
No,
but
not
some
as-
sort of regimen.
But they call it kind of a lymphocyte reducing
Got it.
chemo because you're infusing lymphocytes.
Sure.
You want to get rid of some of those lymphocytes which are in your body
So then-
to make room for those.
you watch them for that long just because you're worried about rejection or acute reaction, or not rejection, but I guess
Yeah, you can.
acute.
You're doing it so that you don't reject the lymphocytes which are being infused.
And
right?
what? Just my ignorance. What's like the rates of like severe rejection
Complications.
or complications from these?
Yeah, they give you enough in terms of the cell count is high enough that nowadays they know kind of what number to pick so that you're going to have the best chance at a response. So that was kind of found in a majority of the early trials. But the most common reactions that you can have are cytokine release syndrome, where your body's kind of releasing all these different substrates and substances that can cause you to feel ill, get fever. Worst case scenario, you go into a coma because your body's basically overstimulated by the immune system. And then the other most common reaction that's a severe reaction would be you actually get neurologic effects from the lymphocytes.
interesting.
So you can get encephalopathic, which means confusion and different levels of confusion based on that lymphocyte infusion.
Like an autoimmune reaction, or is
Well, they think that there's probably an accumulation of the lymphocytes in the brain. Those CAR T cells that go in, and maybe your other parts of your immune system is reacting to it as well, and it causes a transient state of either confusion or worst case scenario, you could be in a legit coma and not wake up for a little while.
and the
a week
rates
or
of
two.
like some of these severe side effects, are we talking like 10%, 5%, 1%?
It's
like
gotten better because you got to recognize the severe reactions when they happen. So if a severe, and it's all graded from like 1 to 4, if you have a higher grade reaction, which means a severe reaction, you're either going to get high dose steroids
Okay.
to lower the immune response, or you're going to get a special drug which will calm down your immune system to hopefully lessen the severity of that reaction.
What do you know, like the approximate
The-
rates of those? Is
I
it
think
like
it varies depending on the product. I think the severe reactions are somewhere in the 20%
so
range.
pretty common?
Yeah. Hmm.
And is there any data to know, like, if you have a, does your degree of reaction influence your degree of response? You know, like, does it mean
No,
that
I
you're
don't think so.
okay?
I don't think so,
Yeah,
no. Not to my knowledge.
yeah, interesting.
But yeah, so
Sorry to
there are
derail your.
many therapies kind of like this where either you're having your own lymphocytes engineered to fight the cancer, or some kind of drug companies doing manipulation to um, an existing drug to get your own immune system to help fight the cancer, and they can kind of, for example, take a drug that targets a protein on the cancer cells and link it to something that activates your immune cells, and thus you not only have the effect of it binding to the cancer and trying to fight it that way by recruiting your immune system, but it has a linker to actually activate your immune system at the same time. So I think a lot of those trials that are ongoing, and it might be this year, might be in the next few years, are going to report data not only for blood cancers, which I think a lot of these therapies have reported first in blood cancers like leukemia, lymphomas, non-Hodgkin lymphoma. But we'll see more of those trials coming out for like breast cancer,
Solid
lung
tumors.
cancer, solid tumors. So that's of interest. I think we're going to have some trials of drugs like that can be given safely in the outpatient setting. Our research department, we plug it a lot, but it's
Plug it.
a nice a nice addition to CSNF, and we're always looking for those really new trials with good technology that can help our patients. So, how about you? What about on the radiation front?
Yes, I think, there's not a crazy amount happening on the external beam traditional radiation front. I think a lot of the studies now are looking at combinations with immunotherapy, how to time it, how to give it, sort of like we have Pacific 4 opened here at CSNF, where it's you give radiation, targeted or high dose radiation for early stage lung cancer, followed by immunotherapy. Those type of combinations. I think there's some. I don't know if we'll be able to participate yet on it, but kind of early phase 1, phase 2 data looking at eliminating surgery in early stage breast cancer. So a patient actually would get SBRT to the breast tumor, and forego surgery in older patients, or patients where that you can possibly avoid a surgery in. So those are kind of cool things that could be coming out in the next 3 to 5 years with that. I think a lot of the newer stuff, similar to what you're mentioning with the CAR T therapy, is kind of the radiopharmaceutical space is kind of expanding at like an exponential rate. So obviously we talked a lot this past year about PSMA and Pluvicto and the drug. Now we're going to be opening, probably opening trials in that space in different lines of therapy. So we have the one open for new diagnosis, but probably at some point this year going to open ones at other different time points in the disease course, including maybe even before they even get any other type of systemic therapy. So people who failed local therapy and then have like an oligo recurrence kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then there's radiopharmaceuticals coming down the pipe in breast cancer, pancreas cancer, other types of cancer, solid tumors as well. So it'll be interesting to see when those, become, available. But our hope is that we can be part of the phase 2-3 level studies for that, and hopefully get it to, patients in our clinic.
Right.
As soon as these drugs are, available to be used.
That SBRT kind of study you talked about with omitting surgery in certain patients with breast cancer, do you worry about skin toxicity with that kind of
It just
treatment?
depends. I mean, like anything else with radiation, it's location. So if the tumor is not near the skin, you're not going to really have
Not going to
any
worry about it. Yeah.
You're not going to have any skin side effects. Superficial tumors, yes.
Yeah.
But usually, depending on the dose, fractionation,
Right.
usually it's something that is not a permanent skin issue. It's more just kind of that acute
Right.
inflammation and irritation. And again, because it's all about volume too, right? When we treat chest wall and comprehensive nodes, it's a very big volume of treatment versus if you're treating just this, little tiny tumor on the scan.
I saw a recent article pop up on my feed about like a film that women are placing over their breasts to protect
like-
against skin toxicity.
Yeah, it's like Mepitel or similar. That's one of the brand names.
Right.
It's basically just a film, a barrier. It's basically a barrier product. It's one of those where the trial's positive to show there's a benefit at reducing skin toxicity. It's not a huge benefit, but it's a benefit. The
Right.
problem is it's not. A lot of women don't like it because that film is permanent essentially during treatment. It stays on.
I see.
And so some women find that it's kind of hinders their ability to do
Yeah.
what they normally would do. We definitely bring it up, but at least it's not something I'm routinely prescribing unless there's a patient
Right.
where I'm, let's say an inflammatory breast cancer or something where we know we're purposely going to be giving a lot of skin dose. Then I think maybe those patients you consider it more strongly. But yeah, that's kind of my take on that. Is it's practically sort of like the way I think of it is Novo TTF and glioblastoma. Obviously not nearly as crazy as that in terms
Right.
of, but it's you worry about compliance and in dealing with that.
Right.
It's just not it's just,
It doesn't interfere with the radiation dose whatsoever.
yeah. No, I mean, we take it into account when we plan, but
Got it.
with the appropriate planning on the back end, you basically take that into account.
I see.
Yeah. So
Very good.
thank you all for listening to another episode of the Rick and Danny Show. We really appreciate you tuning in 2023. And again, if questions, topics you want to hear us discuss, please don't hesitate to get at us on social media. Either reply to any of the posts or whatnot, or email us at the Rick and Danny Show or Rick and Danny Show at gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay. All one word.
Yes, all one word.
There you go.
Very clear. Thank you.